In the heart of a quiet valley, where rolling hills shimmered under the golden sun and rivers whispered gentle melodies, lived a tiny hedgehog named Theo. Theo was the smallest animal in the whole valley. He had soft silver spikes, round, shiny eyes, and a heart filled with big dreams. But everyone around him believed he was too small to make any difference. The goats laughed and said, "Look at you, Theo, you're so tiny. You can barely lift an apple." The foxes smirked and said, "You are weak. You could never help anyone." Even the eagles soaring above said, "You are too little to matter." Every day, Theo heard these words, and every day he whispered to himself with determination, "One day, I will show them that courage is not decided by size." Theo lived alone in a little burrow under a blueberry bush. He didn't have many friends, but he had a kind and gentle heart. Whenever he could, he helped others, pushing berries toward hungry birds, guiding lost ducklings back to the stream. But no one noticed. They still called him weak, useless, tiny. One evening, everything changed. A thunderous cry echoed through the valley. It shook the trees. It shook the mountains. Animals scattered in fear. It wasn't a storm. It wasn't the wind. It was a tiger, lost from a faraway jungle, confused, hurt, and frightened. The tiger roared wildly. Everyone ran for cover, rabbits into holes, deer into the tall grass. Even wolves hid in caves. No one dared go near him. Later that night, the valley animals gathered in panic. The tiger had fallen into a hunter's trap. Heavy chains wrapped around him, tightening every time he moved. He couldn't escape, and even though he was trapped, he was still dangerous. The chains were near the river, and if the tiger stayed there, he would starve or drown. But no one, not a single animal, was brave enough to help. "Let him die," the badger growled, his voice cold and harsh. "He is not from our valley." "But he's suffering," said the wise tortoise softly. "We cannot ignore his pain." "Who will go?" asked the elk, looking around. Silence filled the valley. Then, from the back of the crowd, a tiny voice spoke. "I will go." Everyone gasped, and then burst into laughter. "You?" the goats shouted, nearly choking on their giggles. "You cannot even lift an apple," the foxes sneered. But Theo's eyes were steady. "I may be small, but my heart is not," he said quietly. That night, while everyone slept, Theo made his way to the river. The valley was dark, silent, almost breathless. The air was filled with fear, with danger, with uncertainty. But Theo kept walking. His legs trembled, his heart pounded, yet his spirit stayed strong. When he reached the river, he saw the tiger tangled in thick chains, exhausted, angry, and in pain. When he spotted Theo, the tiger roared. The ground vibrated. The trees shook. But Theo did not run. "I came to help you," he said softly. The tiger growled in disbelief. "You? A hedgehog? You think you can free a tiger?" Theo stepped forward. "Let me try." He climbed onto the chains and began to bite them with his tiny, sharp teeth. Chain by chain, link by link, hour after hour. His mouth ached. His body shook. Tears filled his eyes, but he did not stop. Even when his gums bled, even when he could barely move, he kept going. Finally, just as the sun rose, the last chain snapped. The tiger stood up free at last. He stared at Theo with shock, then with warmth. "You saved me," he whispered. Theo smiled weakly. "I told you, even someone small can make a big difference." The tiger bowed his great head. "You are the bravest soul I have ever known." Together they returned to the valley, the mighty tiger walking proudly, carrying Theo on his back. The animals stared in disbelief. The tiny hedgehog who was once mocked was now celebrated, and the fierce tiger, who was feared, had become gentle and grateful. From that day forward, no one called Theo weak or useless again. He became a symbol of courage, a reminder that bravery isn't measured by size or strength, but by the heart. Theo and the tiger remained the closest of friends, and soon, Theo's story spread far beyond the valley. Parents everywhere told their children, "Be like Theo. Be kind. Be brave. Believe in yourself." No act of kindness is ever too small. No heart is ever too weak to show courage. Whenever life tells you that you are too little, too late, or not enough, remember Theo. Because sometimes, the greatest hero is the one nobody believes in.
If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. It will keep us motivated to make more videos for you.